When you say the yields will be decreasing,
Yes.
is it that they start out with a large yield and then they continue to decrease as the years go by? Or from the onset, it goes low?
Well, when you see, when you plant a genetically modified crop, you have to take care of it in the sense you have to put multiple fertilizers, and you can only use that piece of land for that purpose. Now, what happens is that the yield from even that keeps going down.
Okay, the question I want to ask, based on what you talk about, what about the nutritional value?
This is a total disaster. Let me give you an example with cassava. There was a work funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to see whether you can put protein in cassava. So this is a carbohydrate-based tuber crop. And they're saying, let us put a zoylene gene that will make it to be proteinous. This was funded in Senator Danforth Institute in Missouri. And they said, and published in one of the authoritative journals called PLOS ONE, a whole article saying, oh no, now we have found a way to put protein in cassava. So, of course, that raised the attention of every scientist in the world. And when they looked, they found that this whole work was a forgery. And today, if you go to the website of PLOS ONE, it has been withdrawn and said that this is a scientific forgery. There is no protein there. They talk about vitamin A being in cassava. You have to eat a whole bag of gari, or that is genetically modified cassava, to get the same amount of vitamin A that is in 2 small pieces of carrot.
So why would we, why would we now be appearing to toe the line of genetically modified crops when we have the natural ones that you don't have to spend so much in terms of fertilizer and all of that to plant?
Yes, because this is total corruption. That is what is happening in Nigeria. And let me tell you one thing.
For them to have passed this bill and signed it into law.
It is total corruption. The National Assembly, the 7th Assembly, has failed Nigeria.
But they had public hearings on this matter.
They had public hearings. It was opposed. We submitted papers against this, but they never listened to that. When we submitted papers against the National Health Bill, telling them you are going to sell organs of Nigeria in the public market, they passed the law because this is a corrupt National Assembly. And we must have to start speaking out on this country for these things to change.
The question then is, some people will say it's a matter of conversation and how well you're able to, elevate your own conversation and also lobby, to get people who share your own point of view as well and help them, help their colleagues. Where exactly is this conversation taking place? Because I'm sure I can bet you, if you call the Minister of Agriculture, Akinwumi Adesina, and you talk about genetically modified organisms, the reaction you will get will be totally different from what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, Adesina, I don't expect him to give any other reaction. He was a director at AGRA, a Bill Gates Foundation, who owns the Monsanto. So he was not going to say anything different than to propagate the same message of the genetical of the biotech companies.
The key word there, he was. I mean, if he sees that there's anything wrong, I'm sure that he definitely will not put his country in the line of danger.
I am not sure about that.
The question is,
yes.
sorry to interrupt
yes.
you, but the question is, where exactly is this conversation taking place, this debate? Do you have any other group aside, say, the Pro-Life Foundation, which you belong to?
Yes, this all took place during the public hearings. But,
But were there other groups aside yours who also shared your point of view
absolutely.
as well?
There are the Friends of the Earth. They have actually campaigned. If you go, they have submitted memoranda on this issue. So there are many other groups around the country who have continued to campaign against this. In Europe, the whole campaign was headed by Prince Charles of Britain, who campaigned vigorously and stopped the biotech companies from taking over the British crop supply. So what we are having here, look at the labeling issues. They even put it as a miscellaneous item on this law.
So the National Biosafety Authority that the law has established cannot make it a criminal offense if you do not label those products.
Yeah, if you look at the law they signed, they put it in the miscellaneous. And secondly, this law is totally unconstitutional. If you look, food can only be licensed, registered and licensed by NAFDAC. That's the law. Now, you are now telling the biotechnology agency to actually license the same food. You cannot
Is it the same
legislate.
food or GMOs?
Even GMOs, they end up on your table as food. If it's food, it's NAFDAC. You cannot make two agencies
If it's
responsible.
seeds as well,
As far as it's going to end up as food, it's NAFDAC. That's what the law says. You cannot have two agencies on the same. What if National Biotechnology Agency says, okay, this food is okay, or this crop is okay, and now it's going to end up as Gary on the table? And NAFDAC says it's no. I'm saying no. What will happen? So we are setting up you see, the National Assembly is committing a lot of blunder.
but
in
the
passage
thing
of
is,
this
you
law.
make it seem like as if the National Assembly is knowingly, I mean, if from your point of view, let's approach it from there, according to you, they're doing something wrong, you make it seem like as if they're deliberately doing it. They know the effect of it, and they're not. You just cited the example of Britain now, whose prince had to help marshal out this point. They had to go to lobbying at the highest level, it was saying. Which Nigerians, prominent Nigerians, would you say, are on this side and are seeing things from your perspective?
Well, unfortunately, the funny thing is that they try to get the prominent Nigerians to come and eat bread that is made from genetically modified cassava on television to show that it's safe.
Not natural cassava.
No, not natural cassava. They
But
propagate.
some of the ones that we've saw,
Yeah.
I mean, they were natural cassava that people were making. Some of the producers of those bread.
Yes, so some of those bread are.
Yeah,
But there's no doubt. But there is also the bread that is being made from genetically modified cassava.
Isn't it so labeled?
It's not. Well, the point is that I have not seen one of those things any of those things.
Because
There's a label.
That law now, the biosafety law, section 16(1) of it says, a person shall not introduce into the environment a genetically modified organism without the written approval of the authority.
Yes.
2 says, a person wishing to introduce a genetically modified organism into the environment shall submit to the authority an application describing the activity for which the approval is sought. So
Yes.
all of this are spelled out how they should go about it. So it's not that they'll just wake up and flood their entire market with GMOs.
Yes, now that's true that they are going to go through a process of registration. But the problem is this: if they do not approve your product, you can appeal it. If I don't want your product to be in the market, I can't appeal it. The law does not allow room for those who are saying no to that product, but it allows room for appeal of those who are proposing the product.
I thought you spoke about certain law, was it Cartagena Protocol that you talked about, saying,
Yes.
look, communities can say, we don't want this.
Yes, but it's taken out of the Nigerian law. And that is what is happening. What is happening? And let me tell you what our views are on this. And when the new incoming administration goes and looks at this very, very carefully, what is happening is that we believe that the biotech companies have conspired against Nigeria. They are responsible for all the violence that is going on in Nigeria, driving people from the food basket of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the whole Northeast. They are driving people away, and now they want the people to return, and they give them the seeds to plant. And when they give them the seeds, the whole country, it will not be the 300 Chibok girls that are held, or 200 Chibok girls that are held hostage. The 170 million people will be held hostage, because they will now have the farmers planting genetically modified products in the Nigerian food basket. And that's the problem we have.
Okay.
And we cannot allow this to go on.
All right, so those are some of the matters that perhaps it won't be a bad idea for the incoming Minister of Health to look at these issues, as you've highlighted. But we'll see how that eventually plays out. Thank you for coming on this morning. Dr. Philip Njemanze is the chair of Global Pro-Life Alliance. But that's the program today. We thank you all for watching. I'm Chamberlain Oso.
Well, thank you, Maokbe Ogun.
And thank you. I'm Mel Taide.